Today's going to be cleanup day for the Monarch lathe right here. I need to get the chip pan cleaned out and I need to get the coolant cleaned out. So today we're going to be utilizing the new Freddy machine to do this job here. Now you can use a Freddy to actually filter your coolant, filter it and pump it back in there. But the problem is the coolant on the Monarch is actually old, deteriorated. It needs to be redone. We just need to pull it all out of there, make some fresh coolant, and put it in there. So that's the plan for today. But having this machine is going to make that job a whole lot easier than what you typically would have to do, because we're going to use that. Once we get all the metal chips scooped out of there, we're going to use the Freddy to get in there and actually suck all of the old coolant and all the chips and oil and everything that's down inside that sump and pull it out of there. By the way, I've been fighting a sinus infection the past few days there, so that might be why I sound a little stuffed up. So first job, like I said, we're going to clean the chips out. Just going to use a shovel and scoop all those out. I've got this metal can that I always use to put all the chips in, save them, and take them to the recycling center. So we're going to get that done first, and then we'll bring you back and we'll set up the Freddy and see how it does pumping all that old coolant out of the sump. I usually try to start with the loose chips on the top, the big curly ones, because they end up being an aggravation when you're trying to scoop them out. So you just have to be very careful not to grab these things and pull them really hard, because it'll cut right through these leather gloves. Actually, I like to use thick leather welding gloves for this, like an old pair. I always keep an old pair in the cabinet over there, but I grabbed these instead because they were right there handy. Get those loose ones like that. Sometimes there's a pile of them right on top. You can grab them, pull them out of there. But these are the kind of chips that you really want in your chip pan, like this. Cast iron right here. Big old block of cast iron. Okay, I wanted to recap how this works again, just real quick here. I'm going to take the lid off of the Freddy, and I'm going to show you what's going to happen is the chips and everything is going to come up through the hose. And what we have here is a basket, and this is a filter that goes in the basket, all right? So this is the one that we're going to use, and this is the coarsest filter that they supply. This is for 1,000 micron, and we got it right there on there, 1,000 micron. And these filters, they've got them everywhere from 1,000 micron all the way down to 10 micron. So I've got a sack here with some of the other ones. We got 600 micron, 400, 200. Now I've got another bag out there in the storage shed that's got them down to 10 micron, which actually looks like sort of like cotton. And that's how you can filter your coolant. Use this machine not just to suck up chips, but to actually filter your coolant and get all of those fine particles out of your coolant. So, but since we're just doing chip evacuation, I'm going to go with this. I think this is the right choice right here. And by the way, you also you got a handle here so you can pull this basket out with your filter in here, and that way you can just kind of dump your chips. Now you can actually just use this right here if you're just wanting to use it as a shop vac to suck up chips. You can use this guy right here, which is probably not a bad idea, but I was going to go ahead and use the 1,000 micron and collect in the small stuff. And that way we can dump this out too. All right, and then all your coolant just goes right down in the tank. So we'll get her set up and start cleaning that machine up. All right, let's see how it does with the chips first. We've got the long extension tube on here. Get everything kicked on. Here we got the more flexible end. We'll use that here. Yeah, it's working nice. Yeah, this end worked a little better since it's had the angle. It's a little more flexible to be able to get in there and get this cleaned out. So next up, we're gonna pull this sump pan out of here and see what kind of goodies we have waiting for us down underneath. All right, let's go ahead and pull this sump pan out of here and see what kind of nasty mess we have. This is always a real treat. Being a machinist, you always get to deal with this nasty stuff. Oh yeah, see that? It looks like solid oil, right? All right, so let's get the pan out of here. Stand it up around here. I thought it might have been touching the bottom, so I got this pig mat right there so it could drain onto. All right. Now it's time to do some cleaning. All right, let's see what it'll do. Trying to get you so you can see it. Look at that. Like it's nothing. It'll handle it. Back out just a little bit. You can see the sump draining down. Oh yeah. See all that sludge? See this? Look at this. Look at it coming out right there. We'll get those chips here in a minute. Look at the sludge just coming out of that hole. All right, let's get this side over here. Doesn't that look good? Oh man, what a nasty mess. Take it, suck all the chips, everything up with. Incredible. Yeah, that's what's cool about it. You just suck it all up. The oil, the sludge, the chips, everything. Look at this mess over here. So most of that is chips over there. Wow. how fast it filled that up. This is much easier than using a regular old shop vac. Kind of making a mess there now. It's learning the little. It's got little tricks, you know. You got to learn how to actually use the thing right. So now it's just trying to pump all that sludge out of there, and it was kind of blowing back on me. But that worked out good right there. That's what was in the sump of the Monarch. Let's take a look at our basket here. See what it looks like. There's your chips caught in the 100 micron basket there. So you can take this, pull this out, dump it in your chip pan, and clean this back out. Keep reusing it there. You got it out. Look down inside there. You got most of it out. You can go in there with a rag and wipe the bottom of that out now. Very cool.
It's impressive.
Yep. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and wash the sump out now and finish getting all of the oils and everything washed down into the sump here. So I've got a bucket mixed up with some of the Zep industrial purple degreaser, this stuff right here. That's what we'll be using. Got some gloves and just get a rag and just get in there and just hand wash it all down. And once we get it all washed down into the sump, we'll use the Freddy to suck everything out and then dry it out completely. All right, man, there's nothing too glorious about what we got to do right here, but it's something that all of us have to deal with at some point whenever we, all of us that own machinery with coolant sumps. Even if you don't use the coolant sump, they end up looking like this because all the oils and stuff work their way down in there. So my plan is to clean it using the purple cleaner here, and then we'll suck everything back out and then pump that back out of the Freddy too. I'll just go ahead and pour a little bit down in here. Just like that. I got my gloves and I forgot my glasses. Let me get those. I don't want it splashing up in my eyeballs. So glasses on, and got my gloves, and we'll just use a rag here to, we're just going to go in there and just wash this down. I'm going to start with this right up here and just go ahead and wash the chip pan down into the sump here. The other thing that I'm going to do that I forgot about, I always forget about it, turn the pump on because there's still a little bit of that old coolant in the coolant line. That way I'll do that and I'll just pump it into this cleaner and I won't contaminate the new coolant when we put it in there with the old coolant. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this done. I'll bring you guys back, show you some highlights of the, once we get down in here and take this stuff here and just, all it is just oil. And just get it washed down into the bottom there, just like that. All right, let's clean out the cleaning solution now. Suck this pump clean. Oh. Gotta turn the valve on. Alrighty, that's it. Besides cleaning the Freddy out now, but I come in here with some rags and just kind of wipe it, get rid of the rest of the residue in the bottom here. And we will have a sump clean and worthy of some fresh coolant. So we're going to pump what I just sucked up from the sump, the cleaning solution, into these two jugs right here because it's still got a lot of oil and sludge mixed in there. All right, so pull this. I've got it on blow mode, and we are ready to go. All right, what I'm seeing is so much pressure. It's trying to just splash back on me right here. All right. I think we got most of it out of there. I think what I'm going to do is I'll probably suck some fresh water in there, maybe with a little bit of the cleaner in there, and then just kind of rinse it out one more time with just some fresh tap water. There we go. Looks like about 10 gallons worth of oil, sludge, old coolant, and cleaner. All right, next step is we're gonna go ahead and go dump the chips into the container now. All right, so being it's my first time using the Freddy, I'm still like, figuring out the whole system here on how to actually, as the other GoPro, clean it out. So obviously if you're going to be using this thing to filter your good coolant, you're going to have to make sure this is clean. Now I don't know if it's necessary to keep it completely clean all the time, especially if you're just using it to suck all the old stuff out, that kind of stuff there. But I went ahead and wiped the bottom of it. It had the really fine metal particles still in the very bottom, so that's what I was doing, was wiping that out. And you could certainly come in here with some degreaser and actually wipe this out to get the remaining oil out of it. So I was just trying to get the rest of that metal particles out of there. All right, so what we're going to do is put the lid back on here with the basket. And shout out to Octane Work Holding on Instagram. He gave me a good tip. He says get a bucket full of hot water, which is what we've got, suck it up through there, and then blow it back out, and that'll help kind of rinse the whole system out. Rinse the hoses out, rinse the inside out. So that's what we're about to do. Take long bit. actually this nozzle here, you can use this nozzle to suck the fluid up even faster than what we just did. I got a kink in the line right there a little bit. Once it gets to that, I notice once it gets to the little bit, it's trying to suck air and then it splashes the water around. So that's like the only thing. So this kind of makes a little bit of a mess in itself trying to do this. Probably better outside in the grass where I'm doing it, but you can see how well that actually worked there. And the hose is trying to kink up on me right there when it was coming out, so I got to fix that. Other than that, excellent job. Look at that. It was like not even 10 seconds.
It wasn't.
5-gallon bucket. Sucking that little bit of air, that little bit of water and air there with it. I realize that it takes a little bit to get it completely out of there from the very bottom. Well, we've got it cleaned out now. Got the hoses cleaned out. I'm going to start mixing up the fresh coolant. We're going to have probably 2 buckets. I think it's about 10 gallons that sump will hold. This is the stuff that I've been using for a long time. The brand happens to be Lubriplate, and it's just I think it's their number 35 soluble oil. Okay, it works just as good as any other stuff I've ever used. I have no problems with it, and I never measure this stuff. I know a lot of people want to measure it and make sure that the ratio is perfect. I never do that. All I do is just pour. Whenever I'm making fresh, I'll pour about that much into a bucket, that right there, and then I fill it up with water. And for the needs that I have, it works fine. Go ahead and turn the water on. And just fill it completely up. I don't even mix it. I usually just use this right here, just use the water to mix it. And it ends up mixing up just fine, especially once you pour it down into the sump. There you go, 5-gallon bucket of coolant. Let's go dump it in the Monarch. I'm on the front side of the machine because of the way the chip pan comes out. It's easy just to pour it right on the edge of this chip pan and let it flow down in there. So here we go. And you see what I mean? You don't have to worry about mixing it all that much because once you pour it in there, it mixes nicely. So that'll settle out there, but I'm gonna go ahead and mix up another bucket and we'll just pour one more bucket of coolant in there. All right, bucket number 2, here we come. I'm just gonna fill it up to the top of those standoffs there. I don't remember if a whole bucket will fit, but it might. Yes, okay. There's another 5 gallons, so we've got 10 gallons in there total of coolant. And that'll be all we need. Okay, last step, just put our lid back on it here. I went ahead and cleaned it off as well. This thing is warped up, it's always been that way, but I just leave it alone. This is the original to the machine. That side's off. I don't know how it got bent up. Somebody must have pried on that thing over the years, but there we go. Clean sump, fresh coolant, all the chips are out. Now we're ready to fill this thing back up. And we got our pump primed back up. Fresh coolant. All right, everything's looking good. Got some good fresh coolant in there again. One of the things that I wanted to mention whenever we were cleaning out the Freddy machine, when I was wiping it out, remember I said that there was a lot of the really fine metal particles down in the bottom, and I was wiping those up. And what I had failed to remember at that particular time was the different filters that come with the machine, or the different filters that's available to come with the Freddy. Remember, we were using the 1000 micron filter, which is the most coarse that they offer. And they get all the way down to a 10 micron filter, which really looks like a cotton basket. And so when you use those fine filter baskets, you can use it for things like this, where you suck all your coolant up and your the coolant in the sump, and it'll filter all those really fine particles out of your coolant. Let the coolant go down through the bottom of the Freddy machine into the chamber, and then be able to pump the good coolant back into your machine. So I just wanted to mention that, because I kind of messed up there, and made it seem like that it was leaving all the fine particles down in there, but it was because of the filter that I was using in that machine. But it actually did a really excellent job, and it's one of those machines that I think anybody that owns a machine shop, fabrication shop that has machinery with coolant, I think you would benefit from one of those machines. And keep in mind, that one I have, that's the smallest one that they build. From what I understand, that's the smallest model, and they have them up to great big sizes, so that you have a lot of capacity for a lot of different size machines, or doing multiple machines at the same time. So anyway, now it's time to get back to work. I got a job I want to do over here, but I wanted fresh coolant for this job, and now we got this done.